Okay, we're going to get started. Thank you so much for joining and listening in today. I appreciate you. If you're also watching the replay, thank you so much for watching. I've got some amazing inspiration to share with you that God has been downloading to me every day. So let's get started. First of all, this keeps coming to my mind. This quote. It was started out as a quote, and then I kind of added on and tweaked it a little bit to make me happy. It says, "You don't know what you need until you know who you are and what you are." Right? So that is so impactful. If you really, really meditate on it for just a little bit, we don't know 100% of what we are, much less who we are, right? So we go through this life experience and we work on finding ourselves. We work on connecting with our inner well-being every day. It's so vital that we do that. But also in that process, this chapter of this book, we're covering chapter 4 of The Science of Being Well by Wallace Wattles. And I will tell you what I do as I study this material. I listen to the audio every day of this particular chapter for the week that I'm studying it. So I've listened to chapter 4 7 times now, and I also read it about every other day, because seeing the words and hearing your words read it actually will make it resonate with you in a different way than just listening to somebody else reading it, right? It's very important that at least one time you look at the words, you look at the chapter, and you read it out loud to yourself. Very, very impactful. Do it and you will see what I mean. So, chapter 4, what to think. I switched this up. I know I did the first couple calls and I shared some graphics and I did some things differently, shared some visuals because I am very visual. However, I wanted to get into just really keeping it simple because number one, I'm a busy mom. I've got 3 kids. I have a retired husband at home and I have a lot on my plate. So I've got to keep it simple. And I know you have a lot on your plate too. So I want you to know that you can do the same thing I'm doing and that everything I can do, you can do. This is not content that I am teaching because I'm the only one that knows it and because you're the only one that needs to know it. There's a whole world out there that needs this wisdom and this knowledge in their life. And I want to let you know that if you're listening to this video, then it is your purpose to share this with somebody else, right? You're welcome to share this video too, but you can make your own. So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to get into now after you've already gone through a few chapters. You're about, half a week into the course, and I want to start challenging you to share this information, whatever it is that you gain, right? Any kind of pop, any kind of new wisdom, new knowledge, new inspiration that you retain from this information. So as you're reading, as you're listening to the audios, make sure you have a little notepad or your notes app open on your phone. That's what I do. And that way, as I'm listening to it and I get inspiration and I get these ideas, I type those notes in. And then I can easily turn around and make a post on Facebook, or I can make a quick video, or I can come right here this week and share it with you. So make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you're actually reading the content and material because it will speak to you. It will speak to you. But I'm here to explain things, and I'm here to let you know how it's impacting me on a personal level and maybe kind of break some things down that are a little confusing in the language and as you read through. If this is the first time, especially if this is the first time you're reading a Wallace Wattles book, right? These were wrote in the 1900s. So, a lot of the mainstream stuff and a lot of modern day education and modern day knowledge wasn't around back then. So if you think about it, it was a much better time actually for communicating, for sharing wisdom, because there was so many distractions that exist today that didn't exist then. Right. And I do believe that that Wallace Wattles, for one, but these other, authors and where this content came from, the philosophers, the scientists, these people, I do believe had a really close connection with their creator, and they were leaders. We know that, right? So one definition of a leader is somebody that sees something before most other people see it or understand a concept before anybody else understands it or before other people do, or even just ahead a little bit. So it is our responsibility to turn around and share this information, because there are people that do not know this, that are looking for this and absolutely need it in their life. I do believe that. So, all right, next, what do we got? What do we got next? So if you're new to this, and if you are watching this video for the first time and you don't know where to start, and you're like, where do I start? I want to be well. I want to feel well. I want to feel stronger. I want to grow in my wellness. What do I do? What do I do first? I have a 7-day challenge that you can do. Super simple steps that you can choose from every day for 7 days in a row. Now, you're going to probably need to do it longer than that, but here's the deal. We don't want to give you a big, huge task, or, you know, to you, it's going to feel like a task at first. When you first start changing habits and putting new routines into place, it should be easy. It should be simple things that you can do each day without spending money, without making a lot of, road trips here and there to meetings, or, that kind of stuff. You want to start simple, start small. It's very important, because that will help you be consistent, right? If we make big, huge changes from day 1 to day 2, it's very unlikely that you're going to be consistent with that, because it's going to be too much of a challenge for us to handle, that quickly, right? It's like giving a baby a plate, on Thanksgiving dinner instead of a bottle, if they can only drink milk, right? Start small, do what's realistic for you, and make short-term goals in the beginning. So 7 days is a great first goal to make. That was my first goal when I started my well-being transformation a few years ago. And I started with 7 days, and then I added 7 more. And then I thought, you know what, this was pretty goddamn good. I'm gonna go for a month now. I'm gonna shoot for 30 days in a row of, these, certain particular steps, simple things too. Maybe it's just something that I drink every day that betters my wellness. Maybe it's a meditation that I do every day. Simple stuff is I'm really, really keep it simple. That's important. So I can share the 7-day challenge with you. It is in Freedom Mastery, and I have a link I can send you. If you are in Freedom Mastery right now, all you need to do is go to the files section, and there is a folder, there's a document there called 7 in 7. So it's 7 simple steps that you can take for 7 days. Now, the more steps you take each day, the more efficient and more impactful you will find your results to be. I guarantee you that. Okay, so let's get into the content here. So chapter 4's title is What to Think. And it's very simple. It starts, the very first sentence, I'm going to read it to you. I have it pulled up on my computer here. It says, in order to sever all mental relations with disease, and disease, everything falls under disease that is not healthy, because it's dis-ease. There's an ease somewhere that is not comfortable, right? Any kind of struggle, challenge, health issue, obviously disease as well, if it's gotten that far. No, in order to sever all mental relations with this dis-ease, you must enter into mental relations with health, making the process positive, not negative. And that's where I said, keep it simple, start with 7 days, because that's a positive, 7 days, anybody can do anything for 7 days. If it's simple and accessible to you, right? If you have the resources and tools, it's simple. So 7 days. So you want to make the process positive, not negative. So in other words, some way, for example, these are the ways that some people make it negative. I can't eat cake. I can't go to Taco Bell anymore. I can't drink soda anymore. That's making it negative. We don't want that, because no one's going to stick with that. And also you're focusing on what you don't want versus what you do want. So make it one of assumption. So in other words, assume it's going to work. Assume that in 7 days, you are going to feel better in some way, somehow, somewhere. I guarantee you will. I know you will. I believe it. I know it. But if you haven't done it already yet, then you don't know. And you probably don't believe yet. But go ahead and make an assumption. We can all make assumptions. As a matter of fact, on a daily basis, we do that. We assume things so many times in a day, more than you even realize. And you know what? I found this out when I started working on my marriage, and I started communicating more with my husband. I realized I was assuming so many things about him that were not true. I had assumed that because he wasn't helping me with certain things, that he didn't want to. And I was wrong. I was so wrong. He actually wanted to help me and didn't know what to do. So as we started communicating more and I stopped assuming things, that's an example. Obviously, you don't want to assume that kind of way. But Focus on making assumptions, because we're easy. That's easy for us. We all do that already. So here's a chance to make an assumption for a good cause. So go ahead and make it one of assumption and not of rejection. All right, so let's get into it. First, another thing on leaders, and I wrote this down because this is something that I heard in one of my audios I was listening to. Leaders know no limits. So if you are leading, if you're trying to lead anybody, you must take on a mindset and a posture of there are no limits, because you're believing in this person, you're believing in, your student or your client that you're coaching, or whatever it is that you do, whoever it is you lead. It might be your children. We lead our children on a daily basis, and they look to us for assurance. They look to us for strength. They look at our posture, and then they continue to mirror that posture in their own lives to their friends, to people they come in contact with. They are absolutely looking to us for that as their parents. If you're a grandmother, grandparent, if you have any influence at all with children, then you're a leader. So lead with an attitude and with a posture of there are no limits. There are no limits, because we don't know what's to come. We truly don't know the possibilities, but they are abundant and amazing and beautiful. And I want to inspire in you that there are no limits for you and for anybody else. That way you start to see the possibilities more when you have that posture and that mindset that there are no limits. It's beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm telling you, I see more self-confidence in my 9-year-old daughter since I have also been claiming that for my own life and self. It's absolutely spilling over into my children, and it is a beautiful thing to see a child that believes in themselves and is self-confident and that can stand up and verbalize, even just think who they are and what they want, and not let others influence them to do something else or to think something else or to be something else. My daughter was in her singing class, and when she first started that singing class, it was 3 months ago, and the songs, the kids had to pick out some songs, and she was a little bit concerned when we were on our way home. She said, "Mom, no, the kids didn't like any of the songs I picked. They said they were old songs and they didn't like them." And it was just a perfect example of, everybody's different. Everybody likes something different. Just because they don't like it doesn't mean you can't like it, and doesn't mean it's not amazing. I think the songs you like are amazing. She likes classic stuff. She likes stuff, that we listen to a lot at home. So 70s, 80s, that kind of stuff. And some of these kids today, they've never heard the classic music. They've never heard good, creative music. Anyways, let's not stay on that. But let's get into the next thing. So, okay, here's another example of how we can do this. So you want to see your body as the temple, right? If you're a believer, it's the body is the temple of God. If you're not a believer, then you can look at your body as being an energy being, because it is, we are, being one with the rest of creation and one with the Creator. Whoever you believe the Creator is, we are absolutely one and together with our Creator. And that if health is in others, if anybody has any level of health, then you, my friend, are capable, able, worthy, and already have that health within you as well. So that is a beautiful thing. It is. Okay, so if you are a believer, let me go back to that for just a little bit, because this is really important. Our body is our temple. So, if we are being an example of God within us and what the possibilities and potential that God has in our lives, then how are we showing others that if we are not taking care of our bodies, if we are not in balance in our physical being? It's not a very good example. And this is a big reason why I'm here, because I do believe that I have been inspired to be a vessel and a voice. I believe that is why I was born, to serve humanity and to bring knowledge and wisdom on well-being in our mind, body, and spirit. Not just in the physical, not just in the spiritual, and not just in the mental mindset area, in every area. And there is a certain way when it comes to each of those areas. And you know, if you've been in my course for a while, or if you're mentoring with some of our same mentors with Robert and Melody, then you know you've already come into you know, you've been exposed to this already. So you know, it's not going to be nothing new to you. But if it is new, if any of this content is new, you know, pray for discernment if you are a prayer. If you're not a prayer, you know, meditate on it. You will know. We have the ability to discern for ourselves what is right for us and what is well and healthy and going to grow us and build on who we are. We have that discernment if we can connect with that. Absolutely do. So you want to think of the things as you are one with them. Health things, anything health and well-being, strength, vitality, energy, wellness in some area, you know, whatever area that you've struggled in, especially in that area. What you can do is you can make a list of what you're struggling with. And then on the other side, you're going to write the opposite of that. So if you're struggling with mental or muscle weakness, like I do in my arms every day, then on the other side, I put strength. If you're struggling with disease of some kind, then you write that on the left side. And then on the right side, you write what the opposite is to you of that disease. So whatever that disease is doing to you, if it's making you weak, then on the other side, you're going to put strength. If it's making you confused or fearful, then on the other side, you're going to put clarity, and you're going to put bravery, brave, right? And these are going to be your I am statements. And it's different for everyone. You know, there's not, if you want a blanket, you know, general I am statements, you can go in Freedom Mastery or in Journey to Freedom. And I am posting I am statements all month. And these I am statements come from the God Memorandum. So very powerful for our well-being. So you can use those, but I really, really want to inspire you to create your own, because you are unique. You know, the ones I create for myself and my well-being are not going to be the same and resonate with yourself and your well-being. You have got to make it personal. And this book definitely makes that very clear. This has to be personal action. You know, I talked about it in one of the other videos that I know that a lot of things these days are brown boxed. You know, there's a system for that, or, you know, there's an answer. Everybody has an answer. Everybody has a product that can help you with your issue, right? And that's okay, but it's very important to personalize it to your situation, because I'm telling you, even in the nutrition products I use, I don't use them the same way everybody else might, or the same way other people do. And when you fail in systems is when you are trying to use the system in the same way somebody else is using it. They are not you. You are you, and you've got to personalize it. So here we're talking about I am statements. So again, you're going to list your, you know, issues, your struggles, everything. You're just going to do this one time, because I don't want you focusing on these negative, on this struggle, on the challenges on a regular basis, right? That's what this is about, not focusing on that. But at one point, you've got to acknowledge that that's there. You can't constantly turn your back. You can't always, you know, there's a Maori proverb that talks about, actually I have it right here. Turn your face to the sun, and the shadows will fall behind you, right? But we have to realize that if we don't acknowledge what's going on, if we don't acknowledge our challenges and struggles, then they're always going to be there. We're not going to conquer them if we don't even acknowledge that they're there, right? It's like an addict. Until they acknowledge the problem, there's no conquering it. So acknowledge where your struggles and challenges are. Write the opposite on the other side. And some more examples I have here are hostile, irritated, and overwhelmed. I replaced with balance and calm. Unhappy and unproductive, fulfilled and successful. Worried and stressed, blissful and in ecstasy. Pain and sickness, health, wellness, and pleasure. Sadness and loss, I replaced with joy and peace. Dissatisfaction, I replaced with contentment and satisfaction. Procrastination, I replaced with intention. And ups and downs and emotional distress, I replaced with self-control. So there's a few examples. Be aware This is bringing you to an awareness is what this is doing. So be aware of where you're struggling, and then we're going to focus only on that other side. As you write all the opposites down, then what you're going to do is you're going to fold your paper in half, and you're going to open it just to the I am side, just to the positive, just to the health, just to what's going to build you and grow you. And again, if you're a believer, this is biblical. Focus on the good, the blessings, what's building you up, not what is tearing you down. Focus on the good only. Again, this book specifies that in every chapter. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure that you're making this a habit. And the only way to make it a habit is to do it every day, at least for a period of time. And then you literally reprogram, and I call it recode. You recode your body, you recode your mind. We are capable and able, and we do, even if you don't believe you're doing it, your body is regenerating and renewing. Every day, our cells are replaced. Every day, our blood is turned new again by the things we eat and drink and put in our bodies and on our bodies that day. So know that it's already happening, whether you acknowledge it or not. But if we start to acknowledge it, then we can make it positive. We can make it more positive. We can make it predictable, intentional, and we can see measurable results come out of it. So that's what I want. I want to see you having results. That lights me up when I get a message from somebody saying, I've done this meditation for 3 days in a row, and I literally feel like my heart has exploded. Beautiful messages like that just light me up. So as you're seeing progress, and as you are going through this process, going through this course, please send me a personal message. Please let me know how you are. And if you're struggling with anything, reach out to me and let me know. I've probably been there and done that. And if I haven't, I might even be going through it right now. Guys, I'm human just like you, and I'm on this journey just like you are. I've mastered some things, and I work every day to continue mastering my freedom, my personal freedom, what freedom is to me. And I want you to do the same, and I want to give you all the resources and help that you need. Okay, so we touched on this a little bit, but what we really are going to be working on here during this course, and especially if you're in the 7-day challenge, is replacing habits. Replacing your habits. Now, I talk to a lot of people about this, and some of them, the first thing they say is, oh my gosh, I don't have any time. I don't have any time for that. When am I gonna have time for that? So that is a big sign already that your mindset is on your limits. So if you're someone that often talks about how much time you don't have and how much you have to do, then we want to really, really reverse that and replace that with a better habit. So here's what you can say when you're about to say, I don't have time, or when am I going to have time for that? You want to replace that statement with, how can I make time for that? Right? So if it's going to grow you and build you up in some way, and if you are going to benefit in your well-being, then I'm here to tell you that it is meant for you to do, and the intention is for you to make time, not make excuses. So what I did personally was I set my alarm in the morning to go off an hour before my family wakes up. I know most of my kids wake up between 7 and 8 o'clock. So I set my alarm for 6 o'clock in the morning. And that was when I knew I could intentionally focus on my routine with no interruptions, and I could achieve something predictable. I could do it. It was predictable. That was the only predictable time I had in the day. Now I have way more predictable times because I'm learning how to do that. But in the beginning, when you first, get on this journey, you're going to feel like you don't have the time. So find a block of your day, whatever it is for you, and set that time aside for you to work on your routines, to work on the steps, right? So you're going to be replacing. So here's some ideas of things that you can cut out to make more time. TV. Anytime you're watching TV, I don't care if it's a movie, a talk show, anything on television, that can be replaced with something else. If you're listening to the radio and you're listening to music of any kind, that can be replaced with something else. What else? I wrote a couple things here. If you are spending time with friends that are not building you up, So in other words, you can think of it as, am I doing this activity? Like whatever activity it is, wherever you go, whoever you're hanging around with, and your thought process should be, am I learning something from this? What am I gaining from this? What am I giving back to myself through this? And is it positive? Is it growing me? Or is it taking me down? Is it holding me back? So take a look at those situations. Any situations that are not growing you or building you up, you can immediately stop them now. I give you permission if nobody else has. It doesn't matter if someone's going to be upset. It doesn't matter how they're going to feel. It doesn't matter what they're going to think of you. It doesn't matter the things they say about you. It doesn't matter anything. All that matters in here is that you know you're taking care of yourself first, because you're supposed to. We are here to take care of ourselves. We are a special, special, unique rarity, and there's nobody else like you. And if you don't take care of yourself in the level that you need to, that you're intended to, nobody else is. And if you're in a relationship or a marriage, then this is especially important, because you will not be loved, you will not be respected, you will not be cared for by anybody more than you do that for yourself. You might think that your spouse is doing that. He loves me more than I love myself, but it's not true. I'm telling you, the amount of love you give to yourself is exactly what you receive from people. So if you do have a supportive spouse, and if you do have someone that loves you, imagine that times 10. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So, okay, I have my little notes all around me to make sure I touch all the topics that really resonate with my heart. So, you know, here's another quote that I wrote down that in this area of topic. Wisdom is avoiding all thoughts that weaken you. So it's also avoiding all people that weaken you, all activities that weaken you. That's being wise. You know, if anybody assumes anything else of it, like selfishness, discontentment, you know, there's a lot of things that I've heard people say, you know, when I started loving myself, when I started prioritizing my own health and well-being, I'm going to tell you, I was judged. I've lost some friends. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that anybody else understands you, but that you understand yourself and that your creator and your God understands you. So that's important. Okay, so you're replacing your habits. So here are some other ideas that I have for you on what to put into action every day in order to attain and achieve this well-being that you are seeking. Because these are things that I have done, or my mentors and, you know, professionals in the health field have done or have talked to me about, and you can try them out for yourself. Okay, so eliminate chemicals. Start looking at your ingredients. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again here because it's very, very important, and it does make a difference. Look at any chemicals you're putting on or around your body. Perfumes, lotions, all of your bath products and bath soaps, toothpaste, your soap that you wash your dishes with, the soap that you wash your children with especially. Make sure this is all as little chemicals as possible. Now, these days, pretty much all my stuff is chemical free. My husband, you know, he still has some stuff for cleaning and stuff, but I choose all chemical free stuff. Every single thing I put on my body, every single thing I breathe in. Now, I've been on this journey for 15 years. So I have achieved a level of mastery when it comes to toxin free, chemical free lifestyle. And if you have any questions in this area, reach out to me. I can give you resources and tools that can help you. But what you can do for yourself right now is just start looking at your ingredients. Literally what I did, and a doctor recommended I do this. I walked around my house and just grabbed all of my ingredients and started reading the labels. Oh, non-GMO, natural, no artificial dyes or fragrances. Okay, that's good. It looks pretty good. And then I look at the ingredients, and I want to look to see that all the ingredients are natural. I want to look to see that it doesn't say like red number 40 or, you know, crazy chemical names, that kind of stuff. You just want to make sure that it is as natural as possible, because what you put on your body and what you use on your body, and especially the food you eat, start in your kitchen. Anything, start in your kitchen. It becomes you, and you've heard that we are what we eat. And it sounds so cliche, but it is true. Within minutes, it is absorbed into your bloodstream, and it is actually transforming your DNA. So it matters. It does matter. So start looking at your ingredients. Then visualizations. And this, you know, this book talks about this. We want to keep our minds on what we want. So what we can take that to the next level, and you get out of all distractions. And again, I had to do this in the mornings. I still to this day do this in the mornings and throughout the day now too. Meditation, I have found, becomes more of a lifestyle and a way of living versus an action and a something you do. You can become meditative throughout your day, but it takes practice, and it starts, for me and many other people say this, with your morning. So make it a priority to get quiet time in the morning. If nothing else, meditate on your thoughts of health. Read your I am statements and meditate on that. Meditate on visually seeing yourself being strong, being healthy, wealthy, wise, whatever you're seeking in your well-being. You're gonna have to see it before you achieve it, before you get there. You will have to believe that it's possible, visualize it, see it. Use your 5 senses. Very important to make it as personal as possible. And then, so what's the next thing? Okay, so then you're gonna listen to, you can use a variety of things here, resources, particularly this book. Read it, listen to the audios, very, very important. But I also have a list of health and wellness meditations, and these are from different spiritual gurus, different, things that I listen to, that I learn from. And if you want that list, then reach out and let me know, and I'll send it to you. And again, this really, really is important, that you reduce TV, radio, that you reduce thoughts of disease, that you reduce, especially speaking that. Okay, so then what do you do if you're reducing your chemical food? Say you find a lot of foods in your kitchen that have chemicals in it, that have, stuff that's not natural, that has nitrates, that has sodium. Sodium is not good. Processed sodium bloats you up. If you find you're having issues with bloating, try to eliminate all the sodium in your products. So most frozen meats, most canned foods have sodium in it, and it does affect, especially for, I don't know, at least a lot of the people that I've coached in this area, females have a really, really difficult time, especially during that time of the month, with bloating. And sodium is one thing you can reduce for that. Also, if you're a female and you're finding you're having PMS issues and issues with your woman cycle during the month, you can also try reducing your gluten. So your pasta, your breads, your anything that has wheat or bread or that in it, because that has been known to be a hormone disruptor in many women. It was for me. I'm totally gluten-free. I don't touch the stuff unless I get it by accident. And then during my time of the month, I can tell that I accidentally had it. So I guarantee you, if you're going out to eat at a restaurant, or you eat a lot of fast food or restaurant food, you get gluten and sodium on a daily basis. So, you can also cut down your restaurant eating, purchase your own foods at home. And here's what you want to look at when you're looking in your grocery basket. You want to see a lot of color. You want to go through the vegetable and fruit aisle and get a variety of stuff you don't normally eat. Choose something new. I let my kids choose something new from the vegetables each week that they want to try. And it's so fun. You can get your kids and family involved in this. And then whole foods. So whole foods mean literally as much from the ground as you can get, like as natural in a state and from as local as possible. Not shipped from across the world. Because if it's been shipped from across the world, I guarantee you it's got something on it or within it that causes it not to, rot as quickly. It causes it to stay fresh. So you want to be careful with that. You want to eat local as much as you can. If you eat a lot of beef, if you eat a lot of meat, go ahead and exchange as much as you can. I would say 2 to 3 days a week, aim to eat fish instead. Now, when you're buying your fish, what you want to look for is wild caught fish. Important, because if it comes from the sea and it's wild, or from lakes and rivers, areas that man is not feeding them something, that means they're eating more natural stuff. They're eating more things from the seabed. They have more minerals in them. They have more health benefits is what I'm trying to say. So wild caught food. And then if you eat a lot of breads and noodles and rice and that kind of stuff, guys, the stuff is not bad for you. It's not that it's bad. But what happens is the majority of us are eating just too much of it. So just reduce it. Just choose, a few meals out of the week that you're not going to eat bread. It's a good way to start. Or you can just replace it with the good stuff. So if you eat white rice, add in some brown rice, or replace it with brown rice. If you're eating a lot of potatoes, replace it with sweet potatoes and yams and the good kind of sweet potatoes, the good kind of potato that actually gives your body a lot of nutrition. And then sodas also, obviously, it doesn't matter what kind of soda. It doesn't matter if it's Splenda artificial sweeteners. It doesn't matter what's in it. All soda, unless it is all natural, is affects our bodies. And you know, I've just come to the point where I ask, is this good for me? Is this going to build me up and grow my body on a regular basis? Now, I do still drink sweet stuff. I eat sugar. You know, it's not that I'm on this crazy strict diet, but on a regular basis, I acknowledge and I'm aware of what I'm eating and what I'm putting in my body. So I want to inspire you to do the same. This chapter talks a lot about too, that you don't have to know a lot about the body. You don't have to know about physiology, kinesiology. You don't need to know all this knowledge and information. I chose when I started, you know, when I was in my health and wellness journey, and this is just, you know, something I love to do. So I chose to certify as a personal trainer. I took some classes and learned about nutrition. I really went the extra mile because it was important to me to, first of all, take care of myself in the best way possible. And, you know, I've had a lot of health issues. I still struggle with things. And I wanted to know ways that I could help myself without having to go hire a personal trainer or without having to go hire a nutritionist, right? But you don't have to learn all these things. Obviously, I can help you learn anything you need. Ask me. And if I don't know the answer, I know people that do. I have, you know, a whole network of professionals that have the education and the training on all of this. So don't feel like you need to do a lot of research and studying. I can help you there. Okay, what's next? Okay, so here we go. Here's another way that you can hold health as a fact. So this chapter talks about holding health as a fact. So I wanted to give you some ways to do that. Ask yourself, whatever you're doing and anything that you're doing as you're going along your day, do I enjoy this? Am I enjoying this? Because that's another way to say, is this healthy for me? Because if we're enjoying ourselves and if we're having a good time, if we're having fun, that creates, you know, good feeling chemicals in our body. And it reduces the fight or flight response of, you know, worry, stress, anxiety, that kind of stuff. So ask if you're enjoying this. Am I enjoying this? And if the answer is no, then stop doing it. Stop. Replace it with something else. You know, it is important that you don't try to stop your habits, that you replace them, right? You've got to put something else in that place. You cannot just stop doing something. So if there's anything you want to stop doing, if there's any habit that you know that is not, you know, growing you and building you, don't say I'm going to stop this. What you should say is, what can I do to replace this? Is this benefiting me? That's another question. Ask yourself always, is this benefiting me? Because here's the deal. We're going to get into now a little bit of the metaphysical area that I wanted to touch on, because I don't touch a lot of this in my lives on Facebook. It goes, you know, there's just a lot in it. There's, you know, a lot of things that I don't even understand yet. There's a lot of things that many people don't understand when it comes to the metaphysical, which is the, you know, area of ourselves and who we are that we cannot see, that is non-physical. And that stuff lights me up, because I know that we're more than a physical being. That's a fact. I mean, I know you know that too, because I mean, the best example is when you walk into a room, the energy that you feel when you walk into a room. If you walk into a birthday party and everybody's smiling and the kids are playing, it's a happy environment, you feel good. But if you walk into a negative environment and there's somebody holding a gun at somebody, that feeling, that fear, that danger, that negativity, it just overtakes you. No matter what the negativity is. Maybe you've never been in that situation, but I imagine that would be pretty freaking crazy. But the energy that you feel in an environment. So that's a big proof that there is absolutely more going on around us than what we see. We don't have to understand it all. We don't have to even study or do anything. Again, most of my awareness and my insight in this area comes through my meditations. And I've been on a spiritual journey for about 21 years now, and I have to say that I've grown and changed and learned a lot in a lot of different areas. And I said this in one of my other videos, but you know, I don't claim a specific religion. I don't claim to be, you know, to do a certain religious practice. I have before, and I do still do some of those things, but that doesn't encompass all of who I am. So I've stopped doing that. I've stopped claiming that I am something that doesn't encompass everything of who I am. So we're going to get into transcendence, right? Okay, that should be our goal. You know, what this book actually talks about, to me, this is what it's speaking to me, is we've got to work on getting our minds and our speech and literally everything that we are out of our physical body and into that next realm, because that is the possibilities. That is where it is limitless. You know, as long as we're focusing on the physical, we will be limited. It's a fact. Humanness, humanity, you know, it's a beautiful thing though. It is beautiful, you have to admit, but it is limited. And it does include disease. It does include all of the things that humans for all these years have been coding into ourselves when it comes to disease and, you know, that side of things. So allow your thoughts to lead away from the physical, whatever that means to you. You know, for me, again, it's meditation, it's connecting with my creator, it's listening to different spiritual speakers, different gurus, different even preachers, and, you know, people that see beyond the physical. That's my goal. When I'm learning from somebody and when I'm listening to somebody, I find that unless they're at a level where they absolutely believe and know that there is something beyond the physical, it really doesn't give me a lot of edification and a lot of growth. I need that extra level, and you do too. And here's the deal. I didn't know I needed it when I found it at first. That was what's crazy, is we don't always know what we need. Again, that's what I started out with. You don't know what you need until you know who you are and what you are. And right now we're on that journey, learning who we are, what we are, and how to be more well. Okay, so allow your thoughts to be on the spiritual, on the metaphysical, on transcendence, beyond the physical. And even the physical, guys, it's possible. Anything is possible, because every 7 years we know that science says our cells replace themselves. So it is possible in the physical. It just goes a little slower, right? You don't see it as quickly as when you transcend to that next level of awareness. Then literally from 1 minute to the next, you can get something and claim it and feel it and know it in your well-being. Versus physical, we got to usually wait a little while. Now miracles happen. We know people that are cured of things, and you know, it might seem that they're cured instantly, but there's probably been a long journey prior to that we didn't see, of them mentally claiming it, you know, claiming that wellness, being positive. Melody Riva, my very own angel mentor, has a story of her own of this kind of miracle happening that is just amazing. So it does happen in the physical too, but there's another level, and it's good for us to get into touch with that next level of awareness. So another thing that this book talks about are how there's these subconscious impressions that we are born with that come from our ancestors, you know, and the way they thought and the things they did. I mean, even our own mother, when we're pregnant in her womb, is rubbing off on us, you could say. And this is where, when you experience things where, and a lot of times in conversation, you will hear them being talked about as strongholds, as family curses, you know, it's heredity, that kind of stuff. And you know, it's true. Another word that I've heard is Akashic record, that there are, you know, a record, basically, that we're born with a record of what our previous, up to I think 7 generations, has put there, that we have nothing to do with. So I'm not saying that you've gotten yourself sick, or that, you know, because you're not well and because you're struggling, that's your fault, because a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's already been put there, but we can change that. We can absolutely get to the next level if we become aware and acknowledge that it's possible and believe it, and then start speaking it and thinking on it constantly. It's a practice that I do every day. All right, so, you know, it also talks about, you know, when I talked about you don't have to know everything, because this is what happens when you start to study physiology, when you start to study the things about disease, the sciences, we're limited. Again, as long as we're human, imperfect, and we're limited as far as the human, you know, being, there are limits. You know, medicine is called practicing medicine because they're learning as they go. It's, you know, as they find things, they learn about them, but it's a learning process that never stops. So, you know, you can think of that. And then also, the things that we do even know, a lot of times it's wrong. A lot of times they don't even know. You know, they're studying something, they think they found something, And then 10 years later, they realized something else. So, you know, don't get caught up in all of that. Definitely release conflicting things. So, you know, also don't study, don't Google your disease or your, you know, symptoms. Don't even look at it. This book says that we should always look at health and focus there. So I want to inspire you to do that. And then I also want to get into the fact that the God Memorandum can bring so much healing to you. This was a meditation I started with, and you know, just this week I've hit 111 days, and I'm telling you that it is impactful and it can change your life. So I want to really, really encourage you to listen to this every morning. So I started a study of the God Memorandum, and I'm going to add a little bit on here for you because it was eye-opening for me, and I just love it. So the very first part of the God Memorandum, which is chapter 9 in the greatest miracle in the world of the world, and the very first sentence is take counsel. Take counsel. I'm going to get my phone because I wrote the definition of that, and I'm going to check out those notes to make sure that I'm covering that too. So counsel is a noun, and it means advice, especially that given formally. And as a verb, it means to give advice to someone. So the very first sentence that, you know, I believe God is sharing with us, this message, is look for someone to help you. Take counsel. I mean, from God, if anybody, if nobody else, from God. You know, and again, you can do this in your meditations every day. This is where you connect with your counsel. You know, you don't believe in creation and the creator and God, then this right here is amazing. Take counsel. Amazing. I hear your cry is the next sentence. And, you know, we as a human being, we need to be understood. We need a connection. That's what we seek on a daily basis, to connect with people. I mean, you look at Facebook and how many people are on Facebook, and you will know that everybody on there, the majority of people on Facebook are seeking a connection that they're not getting in their daily life. It was the first reason I got on Facebook years ago. I started my Facebook in 2008 or 2009 when Facebook started, basically. And that was my original intention. I wanted a connection. I wanted to make friends. I wanted to reconnect with other friends. So we have that desire. We have that natural innateness to do that on a daily basis. So make sure that you're doing that. And if you have nobody else in your life to do that with, then you create a community to do that with. And we can help you do that too. That's, you know, part of the group and the pages and that kind of system we have going in our community of coaches. And we can help you do that too. And again, I'm going to touch on this again. Human beings need to become a more meditative lifestyle versus a practice. Make meditation a quality of life for you. And the only way you're going to do that is to do it on a daily basis and get consistent at it. So give yourself that time every day to do that. Live and reduce expectations on yourself. Put some of these simple things into practice every day and focus on health and wellness, focus on being well. And if you need resources to balance the areas of your life, so there are 6 dimensions of wellness according to the National Wellness Institute. You can Google this. And those are emotional, occupational, physical, social, intellectual, and spiritual. 6 areas of wellness that should be balanced, and you know, we must work on a daily basis in our life. So there are some resources in the files, and I have those PDFs in there where you can actually do these practices and find what area of your life you need more balance in. It's super simple. You just literally circle the number of energy you're putting into each area, and immediately it'll pop out where your weaknesses are. And again, you're not going to focus on the weakness, but you're just going to focus on what can grow that area, right? So if it's physical, take a lot of the tips that I gave here. Another really good example And another really good one of these dimensions of wellness that I want to touch on today, because it's very important, and we have a call coming later today on this, is occupational health, our occupational wellness. And, you know, it's pretty simple. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. And the National Institute of Wellness totally resonates with this and agrees with this. But you must be doing something for your job and your work to make money, to feed your family, to feed your kids, that you love to do. If you are in a job right now that you do not love, that you despise, especially that you hate, that takes you down and out of life and away from those you love and what you love to do, if you're in that kind of job, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to stay there, and that the possibilities are endless. With technology and social media today, friends, there's no reason anybody is stuck in any kind of job anymore. It's absolutely the truth. One of the biggest things I've been learning from my mentor, Robert Hollis and Melody Riba, is that what the importance of multiple streams of income are. And also, again, making income in a way where you love what you do. Because I'm here to tell you that if you don't love what you do, and if you're stuck doing that on a regular basis, you're not going to love your life. And you're going to bring yourself down in all areas, because every area overflows into the next. It's not like you can just suck at your job and hate your job and be thrilled in your marriage and have a super success in all your relationships. No, it doesn't work that way. Every area flows into the next area. So I want to inspire you to choose a career which resonates with your personal values, you know, what you love personally, what lights you up, what you're doing. Like when you're doing it, you literally lose track of time. That is what you really love. What you believe in. Make sure you're doing something that you totally believe in and that you feel rewarded by doing. Very, very important. And you know, you can develop a skill. You don't have to know how to do what you love. You love to photograph and you don't know how to do it yet, or you don't know what to expect from your camera when you're taking your pictures. You can learn a skill, and you know, a skill set, knowledge on an individual craft or trade is easier to learn than trying to learn how to be happy doing something you don't truly love. It's going to take much less time. You know, you've got to create the structure and create those habits to learn that new skill, but that's all it takes. And it means a life of fulfillment and success versus a life of struggle and in feeling down because you're doing something that you don't love to do. It's so important to travel on an occupational path that is gratifying, that you find, you know, total fulfillment in. And I'm not here to say that there's not going to be mundane tasks that you're going to have to do to grow that. There are, and you will, but you'll love what you're doing. So even that will be as if you're not even working, right? They always say, if you're doing what you're loving, you'll never work a day in your life. So look at that area, you know, access the resources. If you feel you're just totally off whack and unbalanced in so many areas, then use the resources and the files in the Science of Being Well document and download those. They're little activities you can do. Download those, do those activities, and take a look at what you need to look at and grow in. And then I can't wait to see you next week. We're going to be on chapter 5, and that chapter is called Faith. And I'm so excited about that. I have got a lot already going there. If you have any questions, please reach out. I look forward to hearing from you, and I love you so much.